we are on day 9 and we're going to read about the forgiving prince. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all of his sons, it was Joseph who was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich with all of the different colors of the rainbow, but it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They all wanted rich rainbow-colored robes too. Then, to make matters worse, Joseph kept on having these special dreams. "I dreamt I was the greatest. I was king," Joseph said to his brothers, "and all of you bowed down to me." Now, I'm sure you know, even if Joseph didn't know, that saying these types of things to your brothers is perhaps not a very good idea. It made Joseph's brothers hate him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and they wanted to kill his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and they lied to their father. They told him that Joseph was dead. That's the end of the dreamer, they thought to themselves. But they were wrong. God had a magnificent dream for Joseph's life, and even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use all of it to help make the dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking so good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from his home, he was far from his father, and then to make matters worse, he got blamed for something that he didn't do. And even though he had done nothing wrong, he was still punished and thrown in jail. But God had not left Joseph. One night, Pharaoh, who was the king of all of Egypt, had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth did the dream mean, Pharaoh thought to himself. He didn't know. But Joseph was a dream expert, so Pharaoh sent for him. "It means a famine is coming," Joseph explained to Pharaoh, "and there won't be enough food." Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skill that he immediately took Joseph out of prison and made him a prince of all of Egypt. Now back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food and everyone was very hungry. God's special family was in danger, and if they didn't get enough food soon, they would all soon starve to death. So Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt before the new prince. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph, but Joseph knew exactly who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing and kneeling down before him, was coming true. "It's me," Joseph cried to his brothers. And when they saw it was Joseph, his brothers were afraid. They had wronged Joseph and they had sinned and they knew it. Now Joseph would certainly punish them, but Joseph looked at his brothers and his eyes filled up with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, Joseph couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms around them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, it was God that was doing something good. God was making everything right again." Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them, and he brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would also be sold for pieces of silver, and he would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God would use everything happening to this young prince, even the bad things, to do something good, to forgive the sins of the whole world. It says in the Bible, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." In the story of Joseph, this is what happened. But in Jesus' story, King Herod wanted to kill Jesus, did he? Well, God is always in control.